Hi everyone, my name is Jonatas and I'll be talking about my project on mating system and claw shape evolution in fiddler crabs. And I'll start by talking about animal weapons. Animal weapons evolve through sexual selection, in which individuals compete over access to mates or resources used by mates. Winners keep the resources and have a higher reproductive success than losers. That means that traits of the winners, such as the shape of their weapons, will be favored by selection. For species in which the defender resources have greater value, contests over them tend to be more intense, and the selective pressure to have weapons best designed to win in fights will be greater. Ultimately, this leads to the evolution of a diversity of weapon shapes across taxa. But let's now focus on fiddler crabs. Male fiddler crabs are known for having large claws that function as both weapon and signal, and as you can see, claw shape varies greatly between species. They use their claws when fighting each other over access to mates and burrows that they can use for shelter and for reproduction. In many species of fiddler crabs, females will approach males and enter their burrows to copulate and incubate their eggs. In other species, however, females incubate in their own burrows, and in these cases, males will be the ones approaching females, and copulation usually happens on the surface. So we have two main mating systems, burrow mating and surface mating, and there are some species that do both. For species with burrow mating, the value of the burrow for a male should be higher, since it's used not just as a shelter, but also for reproduction, unlike the burrows of surface mating species. Therefore, we expect male-male competition to be more intense for burrow mating species, and as a consequence, males from these species should also be under higher selective pressure for their claws to be better designed to fight. Which leads us to our question: how does burrow value, according to mating system, affect the evolution of weapon shape in fiddler crabs? Claws from burrow mating species would be under stronger selection for weapon performance, so they would be bulkier, with a bigger manus, so they have more room for muscles, and shorter fingers with more tubercles, so that pinching force is applied more efficiently. By contrast, claws from surface mating species would be under weaker selection for weapon performance, so they would be slender, with less muscles and longer fingers, so they are lighter and reach higher during their waving signals. To test this, we used Rosenberg's morphometric dataset, which has data on claw shape for more than 80 species of fiddler crabs. Rosenberg used 6 landmarks to determine claw shape, as shown here. We also searched the literature for information on the mating system of each species in Rosenberg's dataset, and classified them according to where the copulations happen more commonly. We found information on the mating system of 52 species. From those, 19 mating burrows, 23 on the surface, and 10 do both. And we used a phylogeny, also from Rosenberg, on our analysis. To test if the mating system has any influence on claw shape, we used a phylogenetic multivariate linear model using mean claw shape for each species, since most species in the dataset has more than one specimen, their mean claw size, their mating system, and Rosenberg's phylogeny. And we found the mating system, or its interaction with claw size, does not influence claw shape. We ran a phylogenetic principal component analysis using the geomorph package to see how the mean shapes of the species claws are distributed. Each dot is a species, and the lines are the phylogenetic relations between species. Here in the x-axis, you can see how shape changes from claws with long fingers, which would function better as signals, to more bulky claws, which would function better as weapons. But there doesn't seem to have any pattern according to mating system or phylogeny. And indeed, looking at our phylogeny, there is no clear pattern of mating system within the groups, as in this example. On the other hand, claw size alone does influence claw shape, meaning that there's an allometric effect where species with bigger claws have claw shapes that differ from those of species with smaller claws. Let's take a look at these regressions, where each dot is a species and each color is a mating system. In the x-axis, we have mean claw size, and in the y-axis, we have the first principal component scores estimated by our linear model. We can see that there are species with small, bulky claws better designed for fighting, and species with big, slender claws better designed for signaling in each of the mating systems. But while the difference between species with smaller and bigger claws is expressive, there is little difference between mating systems. So, it's possible that the selective pressures exerted by female choice in male-male competition on weapon shape do not depend on the mating system, as we expected, but they seem to depend on the claw size of a given species. For some species, female choice may be more important, and therefore is a greater selective pressure driving the evolution of claw shape. In this case, long and slender claws are more efficient in attracting mates, since female fiddler crabs have been demonstrated to prefer males with bigger claws that reach higher during their waving signals. Meanwhile, for other species, male-male competition may be more relevant, and therefore be driving the evolution of claw shape to increase weapon performance. And in this case, short and bulky claws are more efficient, because they are better in applying force during fights. If what I'm saying is true, then we expect species with bigger claws to signal more frequently and to have more complex waving signals, and species with smaller claws to fight more frequently and to have more complex contests between males. So wrapping up, where species of either crabs mate, be it inside burrows, on the surface, or both, does not influence the evolution of weapon shape. But there's an allometric effect on claw shape with an expressive shape difference between species with bigger and smaller claws. And finally, whether female choice or male-male competition is more important for the males may be driving the evolution of claw shape towards signal efficiency or weapon performance in each fiddler crab species. Thank you for watching, and feel free to email me any questions.